South East Queensland Community Perceptions of Social Isolation and Loneliness, a case study of community responses. In Australia, 1 in 10 people report a lack of social support and 1 in 6 report the experience of loneliness. This has impacts on individuals, such as premature death, poor physical and mental health, dissatisfaction with life, development of dementia, and poor health behaviours. It also has reported economic impacts, such as absenteeism and loss of productivity and turnover. Queensland Community Alliance identified issues of social isolation and loneliness amongst their members and sought to better understand the problem and how it is being addressed by community organisations. Social isolation is defined as the absence of interactions between a person and their social network. Loneliness refers to an imbalance between actual and desired social contacts. The need to better understand these problems formed the basis of our research project, which aimed to examine how these problems are perceived by the community in South East Queensland and investigate some of the existing community approaches taken to address them. The research questions guiding this project were: how are problems of social isolation and loneliness perceived within the community in South East Queensland? And how are community organisations responding to social isolation and loneliness in South East Queensland? To answer these questions, we first analysed secondary data collected from July to September 2019 by QCA as part of a listening campaign, wherein they recorded over 500 member stories and reflections of social isolation and loneliness. We also conducted 6 semi-structured interviews with 5 community organisations who currently provide a response to the problem in South East Queensland. From this data, we identified 3 key themes: connections, intersectionality, and collaboration.
Opportunities for social connections were found to be crucial for addressing social isolation and loneliness. Our data showed that the ability to attain social connections was influenced by neighbourhood-level characteristics, such as high residential turnover as well as a lack of spaces to interact, posing barriers to forming relationships. Networks of relationships are important as they provide meaning to our experiences, offer social support, and create opportunities.
Experiences of social isolation and loneliness were heavily influenced by an individual's intersecting positions, such as age, gender, culture, and faith. The role of systemic power inequities between individuals and within groups may favour or disadvantage a group or person. In our data, individuals from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds reported higher levels of social isolation and loneliness. This was expressed in identity crises, language and communication barriers, and a general perception of being unwelcome and negatively stereotyped within the community.
How community organisations collaborated was dependent on the nature of their response. Collaboration provides the opportunity for new responses to shared problems as groups work together towards integrated services. Many community organisations expressed an interest in collaborating or expanding collaboration with other community organisations to provide a more holistic approach to targeting the problem. Constraints in funding meant that collaboration between organisations and the community in the form of consultation was limited.
Based on these findings, we recommend the following: create informal networking opportunities for organisations to collaborate and create shared, holistic services. Advocate for expanding the availability and accessibility of community spaces where social interactions and relationship building can occur. Assess community responses for their inclusivity to various social identities to improve support for individuals with multiple social barriers. We would like to acknowledge and thank the many people who contributed to this research project. We are grateful for both your time and guidance, as without you, this research would not have been possible.